of it saying that let's remove the wires and put in the wireless.
Yes, that was the
that was the beginning.
Idea.
Remove the wires and put in the wireless. I mean, similarly, how ANACITY got into commercial, remove the access cards and put in the mobile app. For access management, right? I think they do adopt technology, but it's quite fragmented.
Door has a reader, and this wire is coming back to this one room, which is in the basement of the.
Like if you build a mobile app and you don't have it downloaded, then what's the point of a mobile app?
Hello everyone, and welcome to our podcast series, Physical Security Unlocked. Today's episode is a bit different, where usually I would ask questions to my guests. In today's episode, the guest is also going to ask me questions, and we're going to have more of a conversation learning about each other and our businesses. Today's topic is about how intelligent workplace infrastructure is improving tenant experience and employee experience in commercial real estate. And for that, we have a very special guest today. We have Mr. Shajai Jacob, who is the Managing Director and CEO of ANACITY ANAROC. Welcome, Shajai, to the show.
Thank you, Rohin. Really appreciated having me on the show. I know you've flown in from the US for this, and I've got a bit of time from you. Thank you. Thank you for having me on this platform. I know your podcasts are quite popular.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm sure you're going to enjoy being on this show.
Yeah, and ANAROC and Spintly has a partnership. We have partnered. Our access control systems are integrated with ANACITY workplace management platforms, and our goal is to provide a superior experience to all the users and employees of these real estate properties. So to start with, I'd like to have our audience know you a little bit. So why don't you tell them about your background and how did you end up in the on the real estate industry?
So very interesting, Rohin. After bouncing around with multiple industries, multiple categories, businesses, I had a long, fruitful career at JLL, which is one of the largest real estate services firms in India, and of course across Asia Pacific. And then, obviously, during COVID, with the entire march to digitization, we decided to take on board a platform under the ANAROC umbrella. Got it on board, ran it for a couple of years, rechristened it as ANACITY. It was a residential community management platform called Apna Complex, which we basically then rechristened to ANACITY, took it to the Middle East, attained success, dominated the market, and then of course pivoted onto the commercial side, which was very, very clear for us from the word go, because I always believe that commercial real estate has been treated for a very long time as just plain cement, steel, and glass, and not really brought under the aegis of digitization, or even thought through from a community experience or from a tenant experience platform perspective. And that's where our entire efforts are today concentrated towards building a centrifugal sort of application, which is then integrated with multiple access management platforms, food ordering platforms, complaint management, ticketing platforms, and obviously handed over to in a sort of a cradle of life uniformity with mobile access, and that is then of course integrated with the Spintly platform. And I'm really glad we partnered ever since I met up with your team in Goa on a random offsite, and then that really led to a sort of a lunch, brunch, and of course more business and evidenced business that we've done together. So, and I think that's where the beauty of such integrations and partnerships have worked. And now we're doing great work with some of the leading REITs in the country. We've now tied up with the Blackstone portfolio. We're now doing work with the KRT Satwa REIT. We're doing work with the Embassy REIT. We're working with Brigade Office Spaces. We're working with India Builders Corp, Moss Office Spaces. We've also contracted with Edelweiss Alternatives. So there's a lot of business that's coming in.
Yeah, I've seen ANACITY everywhere, not only in India, but Middle East. We are also in the market there. So what do you think has helped ANACITY grow at this pace, pace in the last 4 to 5 years? What is that differentiates
I
you
think
guys?
it's the single most unique focus on delivering great customer experience, great user experience, whilst keeping the enterprise at the center of it all. Our mandate is very simple: to work with leading developers, however small or large or complex their assets are, to make sure that they are able to deliver a unified consumer experience, unified user experience, tenant experience, right? And I think if you keep that at the center of it all, it just comes together. Yeah, and it's about what, 15, 16 different features. We're also overlaying a lot with AI right now. We're playing around with it. It's a buzzword. I think highly overrated at this point of time, but we're trying to build in a lot more, at this level.
See, real estate, but has been around for hundreds of years, right? And even today, if you look at adoption of technology in real estate, I would say it's very less, right? What is that which causes real estate folks to not adopt technology at this pace, which seems like they should be doing it?
So I genuinely feel that, given the amount of time that I've spent on this industry, it's not about real estate developers not wanting to adopt technology. I think they do adopt technology, but it's quite fragmented. And this fragmentation, leads to a lot of disenfranchisement of the user journey. And there's a lot of fragmentation over there. And that's where I think, there's need for technology which will bind it all together.
Correct.
Create a centrifugal force, build that cradle of life. I know I use the word cradle of life quite a bit, but that's where this huge mobile app platform comes into place with a very strong ERP backend, right? Connected that with IoTs, which I think is the next play. And I think you're doing a fantastic job on the IoT side and on the hardware side, right? So that's where I think real estate is heading to. Real estate has technically not been as adaptive to technology as some of the other industries, but of late I see that changing. And I see a lot more developers, asset owners being more encouraging towards technology, being more adoptive towards technology. And the other thing which I feel is that a lot of technology firms have worked with real estate, but left it the deployment to the real estate guys. We have to understand one thing is that, and this is possibly because our DNA happens to be real estate, and our DNA happens to be technology. So we understand it a little bit better than some of the other players who provide just technology. Just providing technology on its own, great technology, is not going to be useful unless, of course, you get down to the brass tacks on the ground, with the back-end teams, with the building operations teams, with the consumers, with the CREs and their teams, to try and ensure that the technology that is being built is actually utilized. Like, if you build a mobile app and you don't have it downloaded, then what's the point of a mobile app?
That you guys have cracked the code, where is it a one app approach which can result into huge adoption of technology, because now the customer has to just have one platform, everything integrates into it.
Correct.
And that is the reason you see now the adoption, especially ANACITY. I've seen every real estate, wherever we go, they talk about only just few players, and ANACITY is right there, up there.
Sure, and sure. I'm grateful for that. Thank you for that. You're absolutely right. One sort of mobile first approach works, and that's the only success mantra at this point of time, because you need a cradle. You need a cradle to innovate. You need a cradle to basically integrate, and you need a cradle to bring in forward-looking technology enabled. I mean, if today you want to bring in AI on real estate, right? The AI will work on the data layers that are there. Data layers will come in when someone puts in data. How do people put in data? How do people transact with their real estate, right? They will transact with their real estate if there is a sort of a unique platform which is integrated with IoTs, which is measuring the footfall, which is measuring the transactions, which is then serving, predictive, prescriptive, and gentle nudges through the intelligence that is placed on the platform. So yes, a one app system works, but it has to be a sort of an app which is easy to use, great UI UX. It has a sort of appeal across demographics. Listen, we're not just building apps for the millennials and the Gen Zs, right? You have a little bit older people like me who use real estate far more frequently, right? And therefore, the system or the mobile app needs to appeal to all. And here I feel ANACITY has a lead because of the fact that we've been on the residential side and serving a lot of communities and a lot of demographics and varied demographics across spectrum, and really, working with them to understand their requirements and needs. And that's where we felt that we were in a great space to come and do something for commercial, and we've been able to, really make a mark and really make a, get a distinction in this space and become one of the leading providers.
Great. And so going forward for the next 4 or 5 years, what is your roadmap in terms of business, technology, expansion?
So if you ask me, it's about providing the best quality technology, best quality software, best quality platforms, and digitizing user journeys for large real estate developers, for smaller real estate developers, and great assets in this space. Look, if you look at it, we're almost $1 billion in sort of value on the commercial real estate side, right? We have 80 million square feet approximately, which is being leased every year in the last couple of years. We have GCCs setting up in this country and mushrooming all over the place. I mean, it's a fertile ground for development as well as deployment of technology on the commercial side of the business, right? You talk about any of these markets, they're bursting at the seams with commercial real estate. And therefore, we feel that it is an ideal opportunity to provide the best quality platforms, which will help digitize every single journey within real estate, which was unheard of a few years earlier. But if I look at it from a 5 to 10 year perspective, it'll be a natural interplay between IoTs, the transaction data, and the intelligence that can be actually served through those platforms, right? And here is where then I feel that Spintly and ANACITY can come together and really provide solid value to commercial real estate developers.
So Shajai, tell me a little bit about the work you guys are doing in commercial and residential real estate.
It's a very interesting question, Rohin. I enjoy talking about this and because it really hits at the bottom of my heart, because it's all about our clients, and we're a client-first organization. In the commercial side, and I'll start with that because of the fact that that's our common playground. We're powering about 120 million square feet of office spaces at this point of time. In India, we're working with two of the largest REITs, which is in excess of 100 million square feet. We've contracted with Embassy Office Spaces, Embassy Office Parks, which is the Embassy REIT, the KRT Sattva REIT. We started with Nucleus, which is the Blackstone portfolio, and then moved on to the KRT Sattva REIT. So we are powering them in some form or the other. We're also working with Brigade offices, especially with the World Trade Centers, and the World Trade Centers are the pinnacle of office space design within the Brigade group. We're also working now with Edelweiss Assets, which is their alternatives portfolio across multiple cities, and obviously with India Builders Corp for most office spaces, Solitaire Office Parks in Pune. So it's a growing list, and somewhere down the line, we know that we'll be able to provide each of these clients a very unique superlative experience for their entire tenants, occupiers, and end users. But that's the kind of scale of operations that we have in India on the commercial side. On the residential side, that's interesting because, we, about 5 years ago, we took ANACITY to the Middle East on the residential side. We're working with Majid Al Futtaim, which is the largest retailer, as well as has got these uber luxury communities. We're working with Danube Properties. We're working with Samana. We're working with Taraf, which is Yas Islands at the end of the day. We're also working with certainly a large number of owners association management companies who are utilizing the ANACITY platform as a back-end property management tool, FM admin tool, as well as a community management mobile platform for their residents and end users. So we're about 110,000 households are using our app in the Middle East, which is a huge amount of scale, especially in that part of the country. We're positioned in Dubai, but we're scaling across the region. We are in Oman, we are in Iraq, we are in Qatar, and some of the other the countries in the Middle East. In India, on the residential side, we've been recognized as the primary go-to enterprise community management platform, especially the ones that we've developed for DLF, for their hospitality business, and which is managing some of those really tony, uber luxury platforms, communities like the Aralias, the Magnolias, the Bel Airs, the Crests of the world, especially in Gurgaon, Mahindra Life Spaces, Birla Estates, Oro Realty, Signature Realty, Puravankara with their Home Pro app. So we're doing a lot more work on the commercial side of the business and on the residential and commercial side of the business. And there is a huge amount of impetus that we're seeing from developers who are now asking for better quality platforms rather than just generic platforms. The uniqueness that we are doing is that we protect data. We don't monetize data. And that is where the biggest game changer has been for us, which is developers wanting to keep data and operations within themselves, managed on their own to provide a better controlled experience, and ANACITY playing a huge role in enabling them with such technology platforms, of course, integrated with their legacy systems. That's where we've been able to create a big change because of the fact that each of these developers, and I spoke about it earlier in the podcast, that real estate had fragmented systems, which were there earlier. So we are not asked developers to remove any of their systems. We've integrated with those legacy systems to create unified journeys across pre-sales, post-sales, and post-handover and post-handover community management. So that's where I think the big change has been, and that's where the adoption of ANACITY has been extremely high on the enterprise side, both in India and the Middle East.
So I'll start with, what is the most overrated buzzword today?
So when you ask me that question, I'm just going to put a strike rate on overrated. I'm just going to say buzz,
Okay.
and I think AI is there, but I'd also want to layer it with IoT. So AI with IoT is what is going to be the biggest buzzword for us, and I feel that's going to set the pace of the industry, right? Whether it's IoTs on the sustainability side, whether it's IoTs on the access management side, IoTs on the parking management side, or even IoTs at the workplace, work desk, right? But all of it measuring user data, which then gets converted into intelligent nudges, prescriptive forms, and predictive. For example, if a particular complaint is being logged over a particular Wi-Fi for the last few weeks, and it's served through the ANACITY platform, and then there are multi-level escalations to it, then you're able to understand that particular form of Wi-Fi or that particular manufacturer or that particular area in the office is an issue, right? So you don't really build for that area, you find a solution for it, right? Or if you know that at any particular point of time through Spintly access cards and access readers, and using the ANACITY app, you have a high footfall at that particular point of time, you can actually try and see whether you can deploy more people or deploy more queue management tools to ensure a perfect customer experience. But I genuinely feel that there is going to be a lot more on the AI and IoT side.
Definitely. It brings to the next question. You mentioned about access control. What would you personally prefer, an access card or your smartphone being your access card?
That's not even a question to ask. I don't want those tacky access cards. I think the first challenge that was posed to me by one of our largest of clients was that, how do we get rid of those damn access cards?
Okay. I wanted that answer because that's what all we are striving for, of adoption of smart access. Right? What would be your prediction for 2030 in terms of, with this AI evolution, nothing is short, everything changes in weeks to days. But 2030, where do you see smart buildings will be in terms of what do you
I think smart buildings will evolve into smarter communities. And smarter communities will have a lot of data interplay, will have a lot of communication. And I think there's going to be a sort of an engagement layer which will be orchestrated by buildings, right? So I feel that buildings should basically talk to their users. And I think that's where it's
so
all
talking
going to
about
come.
operating system for buildings?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which is integrated
Yeah.
with a lot more smarter tech.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, at ANACITY, we don't want to do everything. We're very clear on that. We're very focused. We'd be the front end. But yes, there will be building management systems. There will be IoT systems. There will be access management systems. All of it being orchestrated together, and coming together in this cradle of life called ANACITY.
Great. As a business leader, what is the biggest lesson you've learned?
I think I'm still learning that as a business leader, especially on the prop tech side. And my advice to prop tech founders, my advice to people who are mature enough in the prop tech journey on the tech side, especially providing to real estate, is do not burn to earn. Right? Please earn to burn. Right? And this is something that we've tried to follow as a mantra, is that don't build platforms at loss. Make money and provide the best value.
Great. What matters more, great technology or great execution?
I think it's
one.
You really can't choose one. If you have great technology without great execution, you'll just have it in a dashboard without users. If you have poor execution or great execution but poor technology, I mean, you will lose users at the end of the day. So I think it's a melange and a blend of both.
This is maybe a personal thing. One thing people would be surprised to know about you, which maybe I don't know today. One fact or one tidbit.
I think that I'm a big foodie. I love food, and the fact is that, I mean, whilst I sell technology, I mean, I came into the sector just about 5 years ago.
Wow, just 5 years.
Yeah. So Rohin, thanks for asking me a huge lot of questions. I hope I was able to answer them well.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me on the show, first of all.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah. I genuinely want to know more about Rohin, and I genuinely want to know more about Spintly. And I think the viewers deserve to know a little bit more, especially as to why a founder wears a t-shirt and why another wears a suit. But having said that, Rohin, I think you've really put me at ease, especially in this podcast. But let me just now just turn the tables a bit and ask you a few more questions so that people get to know more about a little bit of you. So, Rohin, what were you trying to solve? Not many people get into sort of access management. Not many people try to understand this sector. This has traditionally been the bastion of hardware manufacturers, hardware resellers. 15 years ago, if I wanted to buy an access management system, I'd probably go to one of the dingiest of bazaars in any of the cities and go and find an access management system, right? Or a vendor who'll do it.
It was always been a hardware sector.
Yeah, and there you have, I mean, you've grown up in Goa, and you've started this company in Goa, first of all, right? I mean, how better can it get, right? And I'd love to work for something like that in Goa. But having said that, what motivated you? What got you thinking? What got you into access management? And the genesis of Spintly.
Yeah, it's always for a founder. Most likely, it is by chance. Things happen randomly, right? It's all what do you call that? You don't plan for it; it just happens. One thing we knew that we wanted to start something. Like me and Malcolm, we are childhood friends. We both worked in the US.
And not a shack in Goa.
No. Yeah. So we went out of Goa right after our engineering back in 2001.
Yeah.
We both were in the US.
Nice.
We were fortunate to work with companies like Motorola, Nokia. So always in the wireless technology space, right? So we got to learn a lot. In 2018, I decided to move back to India. And that's when I came together with Malcolm, and we said that let's do something in the IoT space, because we know wireless technology, we know software, we know hardware. Right? We can definitely build a product for something which can solve problems in the built environment. So IoT for building automation is what we decided, and we started meeting building owners or large commercial real estate and looking at HVAC systems, and that's when the first time we stumbled upon access control. Like, we went into a building automation room and we saw a wall full of controllers.
Nice.
And we started asking, what are these things which are there on the wall? And they said these are access controllers. And these are used to open the doors. And we never ever imagined that an access control system would have control panel sitting in a big room, wires going back to the door. So we quickly calculated. I mean, there are 100 doors in this building, and every door has a reader, and this wire is coming back to this one room, which is in the basement of the building. So you're running a cable of about kilometers per door, right? And we were like calculating in our heads how much does it cost to lay down these cables? Not just the material, the labor. And that's when the idea came, saying, hey, what if we make this whole system fully wireless?
Wow.
Right? No wires, no controllers. We can empty this room, and probably the real estate owner can lease out this room also, because now there is no hardware sitting in that room.
Fantastic. So it started with saying that let's remove the wires and put in the wireless.
Yes, that was the
that was the beginning.
Idea.
Yeah, remove the wires and put in the wireless. Yeah. I mean, similarly how ANACITY got into commercial, remove the access cards and put in the mobile app.
Yeah.
For access management, right? Now that we come to access management, access management has traditionally been the bastion of security. I mean, you have security teams talking about access management. How did you gravitate towards using access management to create user experience? I mean, what was that journey all about?
Again, it was continuous learning, right? As a hardware engineer, me and Malcolm both have hardware backgrounds. So our first thought would be just let's build hardware, and then we'll find out players who would buy this hardware and maybe build software on top of it. We started looking for companies who could do it. But then we didn't find any who would be able to build that kind of a software. So, or the user experience in the app, right? Which needed deep knowledge of how Bluetooth NFC works, right? So we started building software, which would then allow that user experience to be created. So we were like, okay, let's be a hardware company, but eventually we become a software and a hardware company. And it is the marriage of hardware and software which creates that user experience, right? And we found that the adoption can only happen if you crack the user experience, because it cannot be worse than an access card.
Yeah.
Because people have used access cards for the last 50 years. They just tap and the door opens. If you provide an experience which is slightly worse than that, adoption will not happen. It has to be as good or better than a card. That what forced us to really focus and build this technology.
Nice. So, we've moved on from wires to wireless, moved from access cards to smartphones, right? So, what's the next leap on the access management side?
Yeah, I think it's, again, user experience related, right? Users are getting, I would say, lazy probably is the word, or they're taking things for granted, right? Especially the Gen Zs when they come into workforce, especially my son, who is quickly going to grow up, who is grown up with a mobile phone, who doesn't know what a touchpad phone is or what typewriters were. They take things for granted. They want things to be seamless, frictionless. So just people walking into the building without having to worry about access, but so without compromising security also. They don't want to compromise security, but they want convenience also. They want both, right? So that experience will have to be created, and that will come through combination of technologies, whether it's facial recognition, Bluetooth, which is smartphone, or ultra wideband, which is a new technology called for ranging, or NFC, seamlessly working together to create that user experience. User will not know what really happened. They just walked through the door.
Right. I mean, I'm foreseeing a time that will come in that your user in a commercial office building will walk in with an ANACITY phone in his back pocket, with the ANACITY app in his back pocket, but he walks through the turnstiles and the access management systems because they are all powered by Spintly, which recognizes the user for the validation that it requires.
Yeah, that's the experience we see in the next 4 to 5 years.
Yeah. And does facial recognition also play a big role in this?
It does. So far, the concerns with facial recognition has been around privacy and where you store the data. So most of that has been taken care of with new standards where the data is stored, not really stored on any cloud infrastructure. Users are worried about. So that has been taken care of. So if users get today it's happening already because people unlock their phones with their face. So it's not a new thing. In India, a lot of airports have implemented facial recognition. So having a facial recognition in office is not a new thing for them. So I think it's a combination, right? Certain organizations may use more facial recognition,
right,
but certain modern office spaces may want to use a smartphone and or a combination of other things.
Yeah, and I think a lot of data privacy concerns also come in over there, especially with facial recognition. Using it at airports means you're using it at the zenith of data privacy. Right? And you need to be in a secure environment like an airport. And therefore, it's okay to use. But especially when you're working with some of the larger banks and data centers where, data privacy is extremely important, facial recognition might be a bit limited over there, right? So, but now we come to technology and real estate. How important is interoperability in the life cycle of buildings, smart buildings?
Yeah, it's a great...
And will... single point softwares be obsolete?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it is very important that the systems interoperate. For that, there is standardization which needs to happen. And there are efforts going on in that. So there is one standard called Aliro, which has come up, which is a standard for a mobile app to talk to an access reader. Today, we do it with Bluetooth, which is usually proprietary, unfortunately. Although we have done an integration with you guys, it's not interoperable. That means the Spintly app only works with the Spintly reader.
Okay.
For it to be interoperable, anybody's app should work with anybody's reader. So that standardization has come out with a standard called Aliro, which we're going to roll out soon. Then there is interoperability needed between hardware and software systems. So any hardware should be able to talk to any software.
Right.
Today, again, Spintly hardware talks to only Spintly software. So there is a standardization required there. A lot of standardization around APIs of how two software systems will exchange information. Some of it is there through systems like BACnet and other protocols, but still not for access control. So I think it's evolving. Credential technologies are evolving, but interoperability is the only way where two softwares can interoperate.
And that's where I fully agree with you, Rohin. Interoperability has to happen. Because one cannot have developers, or asset managers be compelled to use a single point system, right, or a single kind of system, because there will be leading platforms which are providing a better user experience, but legacy platforms should not just be thrown away; they should just be integrated into those platforms, right? So that's where I think Spintly and ANACITY have been working together. But now, I'm just going to take a leap forward, and possibly from where my vantage point is. What is it that you see on the AI side? I mean, it's such a buzzword. What do you see that, and where is it that you are pushing your boundaries on Spintly towards?
See, I think AI obviously is a buzzword, but we all can accept the fact that AI has really revolutionized how software is developed in the last mere 1 year or 2 years, right? So I think for us, it's exciting time.
So you're using are your teams on the back end using vibe coding and doing all of that? Yeah. So that's already in play.
Yeah, already in play. So we use all Claude everybody knows Claude, Cursor, these are the tools we use. But as a product manager, because I'm an engineer, we have dreams of building products, but usually our dreams would take a long time to fulfill before AI. Right. So we would write a product spec, do the UI UX, put it into development, and it gets developed, it gets tested. It takes about 6 months, 1 year to get a big feature out.
And today, that lead time has been
rates comes out in weeks,
crunched.
Right? And you can iterate so fast and really So it's exciting time
Yes.
from just development, building a
Sure.
product point of view,
Sure,
right?
sure.
That's one impact of AI.
Sure.
Other is leveraging AI for our physical security systems, which is video analytics. We are now doing a lot of video analytics stuff, integrating cameras into our platform,
Oh.
being able to figure out what's happening really at the door. For example, tailgating detection, unauthorized access, loitering, those things, right? Access is one aspect, but there might be many things happening at the door, and building owners want to know, right? So
Yeah.
we are able to do that using AI on the camera. So that's another thing you're doing.
Nice.
With AI, and just making the software better. Where old softwares were, you have to click somewhere and go around and figure out. Today it's all you can use your voice. You can talk to the software, right? So we are layering our software with AI, where you can actually talk and just get your work done by talking.
Okay. Yeah. So here's another question. Now that you're talking about the future, I'd like to talk about your past. I'm saying, and if you were to do a sort of Back to the Future kind of rendition and start Spintly all over again, what would you have done or not done?
Yeah, I mean, we have done probably hundreds of mistakes along the way, but you can't undo those. I think if you were to start it again, we would have found. I mean, the mistake you don't even know what we started with. We started with a platform which was doing smart buildings, like smart lighting, everything. Right? We actually built hardware products for lighting controls and all.
Wow.
We had to shelve those.
More like
right?
home automation?
Yeah, home automation for
or building automation.
Yeah, building automation.
Wow.
So we were building smart lights, a lot of hardware. So a lot of efforts went into it. So if I were to redo it, I would find one problem once and build a very strong solution for it. Just focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where I think that's where most founders are also finding, their feet, saying that if you focus on one aspect deeply, you'll probably find a breakthrough rather than doing multiple things.
You just have to stay at it.
Stay at it.
And believe that you can actually solve the problem and really solve it comprehensively.
But you've been talking a lot about commercial. Have you tried to figure out what Spintly can do on the residential side?
Yeah, I mean, access control.
And I mean the entire gamut of residential. It's just not residential homes. It could also be co-living. It could be branded residences. It could be hospitality. So I mean, I'm envisaging this entire thing.
Yeah, in fact, we do. Nobody knows that we are in residential that way because we are a technology platform.
So if nobody knows, this is your time to speak up.
We are a technology platform.
Yeah.
Right? So we produce technology which enables access.
Sure.
People need access to office spaces. People need access to residential, right? People need access to their homes. So we have partnered with lock companies, one of the biggest lock companies in India, Godrej, where we embed our technology into their locks.
Nice.
So that people can use smartphones to get into their homes. So that's one of the partnerships which we have. So we are in residential spaces. We are in hospitality. Maybe not. So we have a different business unit for that. We call it technology partnerships and licensing business unit.
Sure.
Where we embed our core technology into other products and enable solutions. Whereas actively we are going after commercial real estate.
Nice. Yes, that focus really works, and commercial real estate is a play. But at ANACITY, our business strategy is to provide consumer experiences which will enable a customer to live, work, and play.
Yeah.
So if a consumer uses a sort of mobile app for his residential communities, and the same app is then used for where he works, and if it's assuming it's the same developer who's developed it, right, and he goes to the club at the end of the day, right, where he's literally utilizing it to book his paddle court slot or his next gym instructor's slot. Do you feel Spintly can form a sort of a varied spectrum across not just the office, but also the residential as well as the hospitality element?
Yeah, it's not about Spintly. I think it's all about interoperability, like the point which you made, right?
Yes.
Because it's about the user. Right?
Correct.
The user wants a seamless experience across all these touch points.
Correct.
Right. Yes, Spintly can definitely give it, but we may not be there everywhere to give it. So it is about interoperability again. Can there be a standard which can be there? Anybody can adopt it, right? So I think yes, we can enable access at every touch point. But we would rather prefer that a standard evolves from this, where it's just an SDK or something which you put in and it talks to any door lock, right? It doesn't have to be a Spintly door lock. It could be somebody's door lock, right? You just have access to the protocol and standard, and you're building on it. I think that's the feature which we see, and it is an unbiased statement, right? It is not that we want things to be done with Spintly.
Absolutely. No, and if you look at hospitality, I mean, hospitality is huge. At the same time, every time you go to a reception, you are of a hotel to check into your room, you're given an access card, right? Why isn't that Spintly cannot, work with some of the largest hospitality brands? And each door is just opened by the mobile phone. And, just as you don't really need to check in your baggage at the flight, you just reach the main gate, right? With your boarding pass, you could possibly get a boarding pass, which is
it's already
rendered.
A reality, right? Where hotels like Marriott are already doing it, and they're doing it through Apple Wallet, typically. But there is a cost associated with it. So an Apple Wallet is still not an open standard. It is only for Apple devices. There's no standard for Android. So again, it can be solved through standardization and interoperability.
Okay. So what's your vision for Spintly going forward?
Our vision is to transform the built world. That's the long-term vision which we have, where, again, going back to the problem which we saw, is getting rid of all the cables and wires which are there in the built world, which are builders have to spend a lot of capital, capex, on such things. So making a building completely wireless is our long-term vision, whether it is for physical security or building automation use cases.
Security or convenience?
It's both.
It's both? Yeah.
It has to be both. Can't pick one.
So. Okay. Yeah.
Because I said about the Gen Z, right? So they want convenience, but nobody wants to compromise on security at the same time.
Fantastic. Mobile credentials or biometrics?
Mobile credentials.
Mobile credentials? I think that's where we both agree on. Yeah. Startup lesson learned the hard way.
Yeah, it's a lot of lessons, but I think one thing is saying no. I think you've got to learn to say no to many things along the way.
So you would have said yes to a lot of things.
You just say yes to everything.
Right? Yes to everything. Huh?
Oh, you can build this. Yes, we can build this. You can do this. Yes, we can do this. Right? And we end up taking so much of work and everything, and we can't deliver on anything. We on the pricing negotiations, we say yes, we can do it, and then we end up losing money at the end of the day. So you got to say no. Out of 100 times, 99 times you have to say no.
And that's the second place that I agree with you. Yeah. Most overrated buzzword in technology?
I would have said AI. You already said AI. I think today, it's been a few years back, it was blockchain, I would say. And it got abused so much that nobody would understand what blockchain was. And they would ask us, why don't you use blockchain for access control? And I would ask them, how? Do you know how you want to use it? Nobody had an answer. So blockchain was a very highly abused word back then. But I think AI has a solid grounding. It's not just a buzzword, it is a real thing actually.
Okay. Access control in one word?
Frictionless.
Fantastic. I would use experience. Yeah.
Means the same.
It means the same. Yeah. Seamless, frictionless experience. So that's it. That's a wrap. Thank you, Rohin, for such candor. Thank you for taking the time out and for speaking your mind, and also some advice to the younger lot of founders and startups that are coming into the PropTech space. Thank you for telling us about Spintly and how the buzzword of interoperability is.
No, and thanks to you. You took the time out to come across the city through. It could be hard traveling across the city in Bangalore, and I know you're flying to Dubai tomorrow. And this is our first in-person meeting.
Yeah, that's what excited me, to meet you the first time, after working with you for 4 years.
Yeah. So really, thank you for your insights into this industry. We look forward to working with you guys more and more. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. Grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you to your team for having put this together. I think the future is bright. Commercial real estate is growing. It'll only become better. And I think the opportunities for us to provide a combined solution on the customer experience side and tenant experience side is absolutely brilliant. So,
Yeah.
looking forward to more such, partnerships.
Yeah, we'll do one more once
We sign up a few more
Analog
clients.
goes public.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.